Hello everyone, welcome to another YouTube live video. In this one we're going to be discussing these clear signs, the differences of who is the victim and who is the narcissist. Because of course, many of you who have been dealing with narcissists, they always seem to put it onto you. They blame you for everything, and they even call you the narcissist. They say that you're the one who's toxic, you're the one who is the abuser. I mean, that's really the thing that many narcissists are doing these days. They're blaming their victims, the people who they have been manipulating, deceiving, and abusing. So of course, this can create all sorts of confusion for the real victim, who may be self-doubting, maybe blaming themselves, thinking that there's something wrong with them. And of course, this just continues the cycle. It keeps you giving and investing in them. And they just keep getting worse, all the while they're still blaming you and calling you the narcissist, saying that you are the one who is selfish, you are the one who is manipulative. So, yeah, let's talk about this together and let's really discern what's really going on and who is the victim and who is the narcissist. Because as many of you may know, covert narcissists, they typically like to play the victim. So after they've been in a relationship with someone, they start playing the victim to people and smearing the real victim's name. And many covert narcissists, they genuinely believe in their minds that they are the real victim, and that what they're doing is right. Of course, they are in denial, and deep down they know that they're not the real victims, and it's all just a defense. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into number one. Victims seek peace. Narcissists seek control. So all you're really looking for as a victim is peace, freedom. You don't want to be stuck thinking about things all the time, over-analyzing things, dealing with trauma, all of the problems they put onto you. You just want to feel relieved, relaxed, peaceful. That's all that you really want as a victim. But the narcissist, they won't let you have that because they're not looking for peace. And this is how you know that you're dealing with a narcissist. They're trying to cause all sorts of problems and chaos for you. They like dysfunction. And this is because of their disorder. They're never at rest in their minds. They experience constant anxiety, stress. And so they can't feel comfortable unless their external environment is in disarray. If they see you happy, content, at peace, they've got to create a disturbance. They've got to cause disruption, because that is the only way that they can feel comfortable, because deep down they know that the problem is them. When everything is fine, when everything is perfect, that's when you begin to see the real problem. And the real problem is that there was never a problem at all. Not outside of them, at least. And this is it, if you can create a perfect, calm environment for them, and everything is exactly the way that they like, that's when you see the real problem. The problem is them. And this is it, as many of us experience. No matter what you do, no matter how much you try and make things better for them, no matter how much you change yourself, no matter how much you pull your personality inside out in an effort to please them, it doesn't make any difference. And if anything, as many of you may have experienced already, the more that you change yourself, the more that you try and please them, it makes them worse. they become even more bitter, even more angry, even more abusive. Because that's just it. They're not looking for peace. They're not looking for relief. No, they want confusion, because that gives them control. Whenever there isn't confusion, you start to see clearly, and you start to see that the problem is them. So this is the number one difference between a victim and a narcissist, is that the victim is looking for peace, calm, quiet. The narcissist, as the saying goes, empty vessels make the most noise. The narcissist wants the confusion. They want the chaos. They want control. Because that's the only way they can get control, is by creating chaos and confusion. 2, victims self-reflect, narcissists blame. So the whole reason of how you got caught up in this mess with the narcissist, it's because you self-reflect. It's because you go within, you realize you're not perfect. You can always be better. You can always do more. And you can always make mistakes, no matter how perfect you try to be. And because of that, it gets us stuck deeper with the narcissist, because we self-reflect and because they blame. So no matter what you do for them, they could tell you to do 10 things for them and you could do 9 of them. Maybe one thing you miss out or one thing you do wrong, and they will focus on that one thing that you didn't do or that wasn't good enough for them. And they will blow it out of proportion. And just not even acknowledging the 9 things that you did perfectly for them. Because they are all about blame. They're all about projection, just putting it onto you. And this is all that a narcissist will ever really do at any moment. Essentially, they're just coming along with a wheelbarrow of garbage and just putting it down at your feet and just telling you to deal with it, making it your problem. And you've got to identify that, no, this is coming from them. The problem is that you may be codependent, you may be a people pleaser. So you're constantly self-reflecting, you're constantly going within and assuming responsibility, assuming that it's something wrong with you and it's something that you have to change about yourself, rather than seeing that this is their problem and they should fix it. But they play on this, you know, they take advantage of it. They can see what type of person you are. They can see that you're trying to fix things. You're trying to make things better. You're trying to be the best person that you can be for them. They can see that, and they just take it as a free ride. They just give you all of their problems. They put all of the blame, all of the responsibility onto you, because they can see that you're not going to question them and you're going to change everything about yourself first before you ever think to assume anything wrong with them. But this is it, you know, you've got to look at the facts. You've got to see how, yes, they have faults. Yes, they have committed wrongdoings. And yes, they are to blame for that, no matter what they say, no matter how they try to shift it onto you. The fact is, the reality is, the truth is that they are to blame, whether they want to take accountability for it or not. Of course, they will shift the blame onto you. That's what narcissists do. And typically you will self-reflect. You will assume that it's something wrong with you. And we have to learn to stop doing that as victims, because it's really just enabling them. It's perpetuating this unfavorable situation for us. 3, victims want healing. Narcissists want dominance. So as a victim, you're trying to heal. You're trying to do the inner work. You may be practicing mindfulness, meditation. You're learning, growing. The narcissist doesn't like it when you're doing that. They hate it when you're trying to grow, when you're practicing self-care, self-love. They want to disrupt all of that because they don't believe that they can heal. They don't believe that they can fix anything about themselves. This is why they're always looking for supply, a caretaker, someone who they can put all of their emotions onto, someone who will worry for them. This is why they do that. This is why they need to dominate and control people, for that reason. So as the victim, you're the only one who's wanting to heal. And you may be wishing healing on them as well. You may be trying to heal them, fix them, but they're not wanting that. They turn away from it. They turn away from love. They turn away from truth, acceptance. It's always you as the victim. You're the one who wants the healing. They just want to dominate and control you. Four, victims show empathy. Narcissists fake empathy. So with the victim, it's real. You genuinely can feel what they feel or what they want you to feel. And you take it on as if it's your own. It's like it becomes a part of your character now, your identity. You become so in tune with them as they want you to be. You just abandon everything that you are and you take on everything that they want you to. This is what victims do, and it's often a fawn response. It's also known as Stockholm Syndrome. So just to give a quick example of that, Stockholm Syndrome, it's where these hostages, they would align with the bank robbers, and they would even befriend them or even fall in love with them. And it's kind of like a fawn response, you know, it's because of safety. And it's because the bank robbers become the authority in that environment. And this often happens with us and narcissists, you know, they trap us, we can't get out. So we align with them and we change everything about ourselves in an effort to please them. And a lot of this, it's really coming from our empathy, our ability to put ourselves in their shoes and even feel bad for them, even though they're abusers. We're constantly trying to understand how they feel, what's important to them, what they value. Never mind about ourselves, never mind about our feelings, our needs. And they're not worried about that. And this is how gradually you lose yourself in a relationship with a narcissist. By the end of it, you don't even know who you are. You become unrecognizable because you're the one who has the real empathy. They're just faking it. They're pretending to care. They're just giving you lies and future faking because it's all about control, dominating you, because they need your supply. Five, victims own mistakes. Narcissists deny mistakes. So with you, you're all about taking accountability. You're all about trying to be better as a victim. They blame you for something and you just accept it. You don't even fight it. Even though they often blame you for things and it's not even your fault. But you still take it on as though it's your responsibility. You still try to fix it. You still try to improve it, and it's got nothing to do with you. And this is what they do. This is what they're looking for. Someone who they can dominate and control. Someone who they can trap and get to take on their problems, their mess, their dysfunction. Because of course, you know, they deny their mistakes. They deny their faults. They deny their wrongdoing. They put it all onto you. So there's no 50-50 in this relationship with the narcissist. It's just the victim doing all of the work. And of course, that's what makes you the victim. It's that you're doing everything, all while you're being abused and you're being blamed for it. You're being held responsible for everything, and they're being held responsible for nothing. So, it's these clear differences between who is actually the victim and who is the narcissist. I don't really know that, I would say as well. I mean, this is the most significant point for me, and this is why I often repeat it in my videos. The victim comes in with a lot. They come in with a lot of energy, qualities, money. They're bringing all of this into the relationship. So they're coming in with a strong identity, a strong foundation, strong values, morals, ethics. They may be coming into it with an empire. The narcissist is coming in with practically nothing other than just dreams, lies, future faking, manipulation. And then what happens is the victim, after coming in with so much, leaves with practically nothing. So they lose all of that energy, enthusiasm, positive emotion, hope, passion. They lose all of that. They lose all of their money even. And the narcissist who came in with nothing, they may not leave with everything because they've already consumed so much. But one thing is for sure, that they leave with significantly more than what they came in with. So that's how you know the difference between the victim and the narcissist. The victim is coming in just to give, thinking they're going to get, but they never do. The narcissist is coming in with nothing. They're bringing nothing positive into this engagement, into this dynamic. They're bringing nothing into it. And that's why by the end of it, all they're really giving is just more negativity, more criticism, devaluation, and just further trying to destroy everything that you have built. And that's just what they do. They come in with practically nothing, leave with so much more than nothing, or consume so much more than nothing while they're with you. You as the victim, you come in with so much, you leave with so much less or nothing. And this is it. You will see this clear timeline. You will see it in any relationship with a victim and a narcissist. The victim, before getting involved with the narcissist, was so much brighter, so much happier, so much more full of life, so much more disciplined, hardworking, had so much more going on in their lives. By the end of it, they've got nothing. No money, no friends, no future. It's affected their health, it's affected everything. So this is really the clear difference. The narcissist feels empowered now, confident, driven. They steal your connections, they steal your money. They destroy your reputation. So this is really the clear difference. This is how you know who is the narcissist and who is the victim. I mean, all you really got to do is look at the facts. Look at what you had before you got involved with them. Look at what you gave. Look at what you got back. Look at what happened to you. Look at how it affected you, your life, your health. Look at the condition it put you in. And also look at what you gave and look at what you didn't get back. And then look at what they put into it. Look at what they had before. Look at what they're accustomed to, what they're used to. And then look at what they got out of you. So it all comes down to looking at the facts. That's really what tells you what went on, what happened. Essentially, they came in and they robbed you of your energy, your confidence, your stability. They just come in and take it. It's all gone. So Yeah, this is how you really know, you know, who is the victim, who is the narcissist. I mean, after watching this now, you should know without a doubt that it wasn't you. But it's funny, you know, it gets so extreme. And there's no extreme that it won't go to because they're in denial. So it can never get too extreme. But yeah, it does get extreme to the point where you, the victim, all of this was done to you. It's like your life, your future, your health, everything was robbed from you. And yet you're the one looking at yourself thinking that it was you. As though you did them wrong. As though you could have done more for them. Even though you're the one who's coming on good, you're watching these videos, you're trying to understand, you're trying to be better. You're the one who still cares about them. And yet you're thinking that you're the narcissist. You see, this is how crazy it gets. Gotta watch that door. Yeah, this is how crazy it gets with them. And there is no extreme that they don't go to. Sorry about that, I think I got cut off. I stepped a little bit too far and then lost the signal. It doesn't reach that far. But yeah, this is just an example. Although actually this can happen in real life as well. And it has happened to some of my clients that I've worked with in my coaching sessions. It could be a case where you could be an accomplished entrepreneur. You could be a doctor. And you know, you got so much going on in your life. You're earning so much money. You have a house. You could live in a palace. And then this narcissist, this bum comes into your life. And yet they're talking all of this big talk. They're acting like they've got connections. Like they've got something going on. You don't ever actually see any of it, but they make you believe that they do, and that they've got so much potential, and you believe in it. And then by the end of it, you lose it all from being involved with them. You lose your reputation, your connections. Maybe you lose your house, you lose all of your money, your reputation, it's all gone. And you could be stuck going from a palace, a mansion, a villa, and now you're just living in like a one-bedroom apartment, or even like a government housing. And you're nothing like the person you used to be. Meanwhile, the narcissist, they've taken everything from you, your money, your connections, and they're putting it onto you, blaming you like you're the problem. You're the one who is selfish. You're the one who should have done more. Meanwhile, you gave everything and got nothing back. So it can really get to that extreme, and you're so confused about it. You just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. So you're going online trying to figure this out. And really what it is that you've been brainwashed. You've been made to believe these things about yourself. You've been made to feed into emotion and ignore the facts. Because the fact is, you were the victim. You were taken advantage of. That is the fact. And you will know that by what you had to give, what you gave, what you were made to believe you were going to get, and what you didn't get. And what they didn't have, what they never had, and what they took from you. So these are the questions that you've got to ask. This is how you really see what happened there. But yeah. You were the victim and they were the narcissist. That's why you're on here, you're trying to figure things out. And they've just gone off somewhere living a fake life, acting like they're so much better now without you. And you're the one who is stuck, left in misery, confusion, trying to figure things out, trying to make things better. I'm just hiding all of these trolls because there's a lot of trolls coming in now. But yeah, that's what it's all about, is confusing you, making you doubt yourself. And that's why typically at the end of the relationship, or even beginning by the devaluation phase, they're already smearing your name, bringing on all of their flying monkeys to reinforce this false narrative of how you were the abuser. And you really, you go from, it's like you go from riches to rags, and you're being blamed for it. You're being made to believe that it's your fault. You are the problem. Because for them, they live in a delusion. They're living in a fantasy. They have this grandiosity. They believe they're something, but really they're not anything. Well, as for you, you actually are something for real. They just don't like it. They just want it for themselves. So this is how this happens. It's all because of this fantasy in their minds. And they're not wanting to accept that it is just a fantasy, or that it's never going to be reality. But yeah, it really doesn't help them, because everything they did to you, it's just enabling their disorder. It's not really making anything better for them. And, for them, it's just supply. It's just validation for their false character. This false character they have in their minds that is desirable, it's intelligent, it's all-knowing, it's powerful. They see your passion, your hope, your discipline, your abilities, and they latch onto that and extract it from you to validate this false character. Which of course leaves you in confusion, not knowing who you are by the end of it. And then they just run off and do the same thing to someone else. So this is what they do. And they're always going to want to keep you there, trapped in confusion, trapped in not knowing who you are, not knowing the value of what you gave. That's where they want to keep you. Because otherwise you're going to invalidate them, and that's all it's really about. They don't care about how they destroyed everything with you, how they ruined your life. They don't care about the effects of how now you can't give, you can't share with other people. None of that matters to them because they're that low, they're that insecure. All they care about is making themselves feel better. And if they could, they would destroy the entire world just to save themselves. They really would. Because that's all they care about is themselves. But yeah, it doesn't help them. I mean, all they're getting is just supply. It's just a short-term fix. It doesn't get them anywhere. And as they age, they get worse and worse. Because technically, they're really just abusing themselves. It's a form of self-harm. It's a form of self-sabotage. For you then go within, you recognize these weaknesses that allow them to gain access to you. And you patch them up to prevent them from gaining access again. I am removing all of these trolls now. I see all of the random messages. But yeah, this is what narcissists do as well. They will often use word salads, just making random observations, just making stuff up, pulling stuff out of thin air. Anything to confuse you, to distract you, because they do not like the truth. They do not like reality. They hate it. They want to live in a fantasy world for the rest of their lives. That's the only thing that feels good to them. But as for us, we got to accept it, the truth of what these people are, of what these people do, and then avoid them like the plague. Because all they can really bring is destruction. They have to sacrifice people. Give it a thumbs up if this has been helpful to you so far. And let me know what you think about what I've said here. Those of you who are listening. Because I know there's many trolls who come in here and they're not listening, they're just watching. And just trying to get their validation. But let me know if you have any questions. Aaron Michael says they're like cultists. That's it, they're all like in a cult. This group reinforces this false narrative that they have to tell themselves so that they can feel like they're normal. But it's all fake, it's all fragile. And that's how, it could be 100 people in their cult. All it takes is one outsider, one person, to threaten all of it. Now that's how you know that it's fake. That's how you know that there's something wrong. Because, normally, if you've really got a strong group and it's actually something real, you're not going to be bothered by one outsider coming into it or being around it. You're not going to feel threatened. You're going to accept their difference of opinion. It's not going to get to you. But this is it, this is why they are the way that they are. This is why they need so many people. And this is why they have all of these tactics. Because that's what it takes for them to destroy something real. But this is it in the world, Most things that you see in this world are not real. It is all fake. It is all fragile. Stephen P. Reyes asks, do they twist words to their advantage? Yes, believe it or not, but narcissists, they do twist words to their advantage. Everything you say, they use word salads. Anything that you say, they will twist it in their minds and try and make it something that's favorable for them. If they can do it. But other times they can be hypersensitive and paranoid, and anything that you say, they may take it in the wrong way, and it's like you just can't ever get through to them. Aaron Michael says, yep, all about word salad BS. Oh, it's crazy. I mean, the effects that this has on people. If you're in a long-term relationship with a narcissist and, you try and communicate with them, nothing ever makes any sense to them. And they communicate in a very weird way. And they expect it to make sense with you. So by the end of it, you start to feel like English is no longer your first language. You struggle communicating, expressing yourself. I mean, by the end of it, some victims, they're kind of like in It's like they're in a catabolic state. They're just kind of frozen in time, stuck, eyes wide open, jaw dropped. And it's like they just can't even speak. All they can do, it's like they're in a paralytic state that all they can do is react. They can just kind of shift their eyes and have like tiny micro expressions, which is just enough for the narcissist to get supply. And honestly, that's how they want you. They want their victim stuck in a paralytic state where you're in shock. To them, it translates to you being in awe. Your eyes are just wide open, your jaw's dropped. And that's how they want you, stuck, frozen in time. I mean, it's kind of like that scene in Star Wars with Han Solo when he was frozen in carbon. That's how the narcissist wants you. And that's how many of you were to some extent in the relationship. And of course, they'll have people thinking something is wrong with you. They'll have people thinking that you've just got a brain disorder or something. That's why you're frozen. That's why you're paranoid. That's why you're so reactive, always on edge. But no, it's because you've been abused. And, people don't talk about it often enough, but the truth is, once you've been in a relationship with a narcissistic abuser, you will also see that there's lots of other predators out there. This is how these smear campaigns begin, and you have all of these flying monkeys after you. It's because they can see your vulnerabilities that have been exposed following this relationship, and they all just jump on the bandwagon. Because there's a lot of people out there, they love targeting vulnerable people if they think they can get away with it. And this is how, in schools, and there's babysitters, in care homes, there's a lot of abuse, a lot of exploitation going on. It happens every day. Because, honestly, at this point, I'm starting to think that most people in the world, if they have the opportunity to do something to someone, to have unjust power over them, where they can exploit a vulnerable person, they will just do it if they think they can get away with it. And they won't feel anything bad about it. And it's really disgusting, to think of that. But at this point, I believe that most people will do it. They will happily exploit a child, an elderly person, a pet, just because they love the power that it gives them. That feeling of advantage, of omnipotence. It's really sick, but I think this is what most people are like. And this is how there's so many reports about it. And of course, for us as victims, empaths, codependents, it's the opposite. We admire, we respect that vulnerability. And all we really want to do is just care and protect people. These narcissists are looking for power. And it seems that's what most people are looking for these days, and they will exploit people for it. Just to feel like there's something powerful. Matt Smith says, the truth doesn't require word salad. Yes, exactly. You'll never be able to sit down with a narcissist and just talk about truth, facts. Like what actually happened? What did you do? You'll never be able to do that with them. They'll never be able to be honest. They'll never give you closure because that would put them at a disadvantage. So that's never going to happen with them. And that's how everyone talks about it, you know. Narcissists never give closure. But it does get to a point, you know, where it rewires your brain, and it's like anything normal, just any normal self-expression, it feels weird to you. It may disturb you, it may make you feel uncomfortable, dizzy even. That's what can happen because they are disordered. They are wired incorrectly. They have faulty programming, and this can affect you. So you start to see things the way that they do in their distorted perception. And it can make it difficult for you to re-assimilate back into the real world, you know, with normal people. Anamika Maharaj asks, do they usually go from entitlement, cheating, pathological lying, deceit, and inflicting physical health issues to begging and literally crying when I set boundaries? And now he's absolutely rageful and silent. They will try anything if they think it will work. You may often see the love bombing. Once you've held them accountable, you've confronted them, they may try the love bombing again if they think you're going to be susceptible to it. And if that doesn't work, yes, they may play the victim to you if they think that's going to work on you. If you've fallen for it before, you know, they may get on their knees, beg you, cry. They may roll on the floor throwing a tantrum. They're going to do whatever they have to do, whatever they think is going to work. So yes, you can see narcissists apologizing, saying sorry, buying you gifts, crying. Yes, all of this can happen. With certain types of narcissists, vulnerable narcissists, you're unlikely to see that from a grandiose narcissist unless they've experienced a collapse. Arthur Dev Studio says you need to meditate at least 1 to 2 hours a day. This gives you power over them. Definitely, meditation will help you. If you can find the time away from them, I highly recommend it. And I even have some guided meditations on my channel here. Because it takes you out of reacting to them constantly, because, you know, that's what you're doing when you're with them. You are constantly reacting to them and basing your life off of their worldview, which is distorted and invalid. So of course, that's never going to help you. But when you come within, when you meditate, things start to get a lot better. You're no longer so reactive. And especially God can help you. Having something above the narcissist, seeing someone as more of an authority, more powerful, that's definitely going to guide you. Even without looking at it from a spiritual or religious perspective. Because what you're typically doing is that you're seeing the narcissist as the ultimate authority. And of course, you know, let's not forget, even from a scientific view, that's just not correct. Of course, the narcissist isn't the ultimate authority. Of course, they're not all powerful, all knowing. So take them off the pedestal. Stop viewing them in that way. Stop giving them that control over your mind. They don't know anything. They aren't anything. In fact, they're less than most people because of this grandiose fantasy. Their perceptions are distorted. And who you should trust are people who have done the work, people who actually have the experiences, people who have been through it. Matt Smith says you should never wish for their collapse. Instead, wish for them to hopefully learn from your silence and your absence. Truth is, the narcissist is never going to learn anything. They're never going to grow, they're never going to be anything better unless they do collapse. This facade that they have built must come crumbling down first before they will learn anything. And that is the truth. They're unlikely to make any long-lasting, significant change without a full collapse first. Because everything they've built, it's a lie. It's fake. Other people who are not narcissists, they don't have to collapse. They don't have to lose everything to learn. But I would say that narcissists do. But yeah, I think that's good for this video. Helping you to identify who is the victim and who is the narcissist. I've just been traveling again yesterday. I got here last night. This Gungu city. It seems quite peaceful, but it is quite noisy as well. There's always a lot of car horns, especially when I'm working. I was actually woken up several times this morning. But it's quite beautiful, you know, the trees and the hills in the distance. I do love nature. I'm hoping to do some exploring soon. Maybe tomorrow we'll go out and explore. And yeah, you can see all of my travel content on my Instagram. My Instagram account is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And also I have a Pixabay. It's Narc Survivor YouTube. Some of my best photographs on there. If you saw me jump, it's because of the gang stalker just jumped out of the fence. They do that sometimes. That's one of the recent things that they like to do to try and scare you. It's like all of a sudden they'll just jump out around a corner or a fence or something. They always look like they need their nappy changed. But yeah, if this video has been good for you, give it a thumbs up. Planet Pat Radio asks, do you get gang stalked? I do try to mention it in every video that I make. I know I do seem a bit more calm when I'm not talking about the gang stalking, but I do try to mention it often. I mean, I've done many videos on gang stalking already. Just in the last few weeks, I must have done about 20, 30 videos on gang stalking. But yeah, it's scary when these guys come out. They just pop out of like round street corners and fences. They look like zombies. There's like no life in them. Like they've just been neglected their entire lives. But yeah, I'm not too bad here. I mean, it's good just being away from people and allows me to come back to myself, to feel much lighter, happier, you know, without having a dark cloud over my head all the time. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about this video. Drop a comment down below. And if you've got any questions, if you're new here, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I go live again. And check out the Facebook group. It's called Narc Survivor. And also check out the daily blog posts on my website, narcsurvivor.co.uk. You can also book a one-on-one with me on there. And yeah, that's it for this one. Appreciate you all. And I look forward to speaking with you in another live video very soon.